Welcome to another episode in the kitchen. Sometimes we say we cook from scratch, and it's not totally true because when you get your ingredients together, it's quite often partially prepared, a lot of the ingredients. Mustard being one of them. But back last winter, I took the mustard seed, just straight mustard seed from the spice cabinet. I planted several of them in the propagation room, and I grew them out over the summer. And then in early November, I collected the seed, and you watched that video. Now I have the seed here, and I want to make prepared mustard. What I need with respect to mustard is 3/4 of a cup of dry yellow mustard. So you can buy dry yellow mustard, which is basically your seeds ground up. I have this that I'm thinking is maybe the best thing I have for turning them to powder. This is your normal immersion blender. I can take off that part. And put on this one. If you do it just right. It has smooth blades on it, so I can make these blades really sharp. And the bottom one sits in really close to the base of the cup, so it should grind it up fairly well. We will try. This is the seed that I showed you in the last video. It's only about 1/3 of a cup. And I'll fill it up with the other seed. It's 1 cup full of whole mustard seed. Let's see how much powder it'll make. Well, that doesn't work. But I'm not out of options. This is a meat grinder. I have 3 different screens. And this one, the hole is not much bigger than the seed itself. So as you've seen at first, the seeds had just come right out through the screen. And then when it got caught up, it started to grind it. But it's quite moist, so I'm going to have to dry it. I'm going to put the second cup through. I was looking online, I looked for spice grinders, and I just got something this size. This is a pepper grinder here. That's what I found online. I didn't order it. So that's why I'm trying it this way. There is also, you can get a flour grinder, but the cheapest one I could find was $100. I'm going to try and put the second cup through, because when I dry this, it's going to shrink, of course. Still have seed left for next year. Just crossed my mind, I don't need to dry that. I'm making prepared mustard. Why dry it out and make it wet again? I need 3/4 cup of mustard powder. With the camera off, I ran it through the grinder one more time, then I put it in a bigger bowl so I could break it up. And it looks like beautiful mustard. Now, this is darker than the store-bought. One reason, because of course this is moist, so it will lighten up if you dried it. And there are green seeds in it, so that will give it a little bit of a darker tint as well. But to be sure everything was going fine, I did a taste test between that and my store-bought mustard, and they taste the same. Now this is packed in. I've got 1.5 cups, so I have enough now to do a double recipe. I didn't grind all the seed afterwards, so a little over 1 cup. It didn't come back well. It actually increased in size when you grind it. To do this recipe, I'm doubling it. It asks for 1 cup of cold water, etc. So I have 2 cups of cold water, 1.5 cups of my pureed ground mustard seeds, I'll need 1.5 teaspoons of salt, half a teaspoon of ground turmeric. That's 1 teaspoon for doubling it. So a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. And I will need 1 cup of vinegar. To start, we're going to put the first 6 ingredients in a small non-reactive saucepan. Now by non-reactive, they mean metals such as aluminum and copper is reactive, and it will give you a metallic taste to this kind of food. I wouldn't suggest you do it in iron either, because iron, as you know, is reactive, but it wouldn't give you that off taste. So you use stainless steel, glass, enamel. There's another one, but I can't remember what it is. What I'm doing, I'm putting them all in here now just to show you. So, a teaspoon and a half of salt. This is a half a teaspoon, so 1, 2, 3. Teaspoon and a half. 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Thing I don't like about turmeric in here is that it comes up, and I don't usually use this shaker anyway, so I think I'll leave this top off and I won't have that problem next time. I'm going to leave this shaker portion out. One teaspoon of turmeric. We're looking for half a teaspoon of garlic powder. It actually says 1/4 teaspoon, but you can't put in too much garlic powder, can you? And a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. Paprika is something that I don't use a lot of, so I'm not going to overdo it on that one. Now I have it put over on the stove. I have all ingredients in there except for the vinegar. I have all ingredients in there except for the... So I have it whisked together. We're supposed to cook this on low heat, stirring frequently, and it might take 30 to 45 minutes, they say, and do it in a well ventilated area. So I'll come back when the next step is ready. I don't know what they mean by a thick paste, because see, it hardly falls off the spoon there now. And I've had it going now, it's been 21 minutes. Time to add in the vinegar. 1 cup of white vinegar. And mix that up good, it would be better to get a whisk. And now I'm supposed to keep this boiling until it gets to the desired consistency. So that's a matter of personal preference. With regard to the mixing it, you have to be stirring it pretty much constant on the first step, because I went to use the washroom and it started to stick on. So that's why it's in a different pan now. Now this is my first time doing this. This has been 15 minutes now since I put in the vinegar. I'm expecting this to thicken up a bit as it cools. The recipe says just let it cool and then put in a airtight container, and you can store it for up to 3 months. But because I have so much made and it's just me, I am going to put it in some in hot in this container and let it seal, and I'll let the rest cool, and then when it cools we can do a taste test. It's cooled down now. It's been about an hour, I guess. Here's the one that I put in hot, sealed nice and tight. Thick enough for my liking. When I taste it, tastes just like French's mustard, except it's a little pungent now. It will get a little mellower over, it could be up to 3 weeks by the time it's as mellow as it will get. So when it stores in the fridge there, it will, like I say, get a little less strong, and in 3 weeks time it'll be pretty much just like the French's mustard that you will buy in your local grocery. I was saving containers because I knew I would come to this point of different condiments, but apparently I don't have any for mustard. So I'm going to have to put it in this bottle. There we are, one more condiment right from seed, growing the plant, to prepared mustard. I hope you liked it, hope you found it informative. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you in the next video.